Yeah, so what I've noticed the biggest change in is my sleep patterns and whether or not I feel rested on particular days, right? In the past, I kind of struggled with those type of things, but it's a little more intense now. Not so it's bothering me, just that I've noticed it's different, right? Because I'm starting to keep, I started to keep like a voice journal of my experience, right? Any side effects I would be having, any differences that I noticed. And again, we talk about it. So when somebody else goes through this experience, they would have that support and would remember our personal experience going through it as well. So those are the type of things. I did mention last week that I feel the need to spend more time with family, which is really weird because I think I spend plenty of time with them, but this time it's a little different. Like I have to spend more time with them differently. I notice I engage more in conversations where in the past I'm kind of like doing my own thing and I leave people alone. Now I feel like I want to be kind of a part of their world and not so much have them be a part of my world, if that makes sense, right? Like last week, this week, I talked a little bit about codependency. And I know a lot of people who have that codependent personality. And I just thought about it, I just love them. I can't change them. I don't want to change them. They are where they are. And I just feel like I have more compassion and I just want to love people for where they are. And I'm not interested in taking them somewhere like I used to be, right? Just kind of like enjoying them where they're at, where I'm at, and just kind of all get along. So it's been really nice, a very graceful period that comes with its ups and downs and emotions sometimes. But like I shared earlier, like it's funny because the emotions will come and I allow them to come in, I process them, and then they just kind of stop. Like literally somebody just, okay, stop now. And I'm like, okay. And then like I'm done. So it's a very fast way of processing emotions and thoughts for sure. And you mentioned, I believe it was last episode, we talked about intuition. It has definitely been heightened, and I haven't done anything different other than go through this vortex.
Yeah, right. Yeah, for sure. Okay, so we talked a little bit before about the role of ancient beings or the ancients in the present and in the future. And I know you've had an experience with this. So take it away.
Oh my gosh. Fun stuff. It's funny when you had mentioned about what to do with old stuff and old patterns. And the answer to that, honestly, the fastest answer to that is just leave them alone. Don't try to put them somewhere. Don't try to give them to somebody. Just leave them alone. And without your attention, the energy of it is going to die out and you don't have to worry about where to put it, right? It's kind of like you have a whole bunch of leftover clothes. You take it to get donate. You don't know what happens to it. You just leave it alone, right? Leave it alone and go on with your own life. So this week I noticed that I was a little tired on Tuesday. And I know that I came in wanting to break a bunch of generational curses, generational ties, traditions, and a bunch of stuff. So I felt a very close connection to my ancestors. The past 2 years, I've been working really hard to understand what it is that my ancestors' role is in my life. Okay. I shared with you that I honestly thought that ancestors were like my guardian angels, that they were going to just protect me. And I remember about a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years, I was not feeling well. And I somehow knew that I came to take on like a generational curse of ailment that was running in my family. Like my mom's line, generational anxiety, just, oh my God, the crap is super intense. And then my dad's was like a lot of physical ailments. And I somehow at that night and that moment felt that I came to clear it all. And I remember I just cussed out all my ancestors, Angela. I'm like, F you guys. Because I was naive in thinking that they were supposed to help me. Like, you guys see I'm struggling. Why don't you help me? And then I had this revelation where no, they need you, Velia. They need your body. They need your life force because they don't have it anymore. And oh my gosh, I think a lot of us feel that we're supposed to just honor our ancestors and oh my gosh, bow down to them, but they need us because they didn't finish doing what they came here to do. So guess who picked up the torch to help clear all those ailments and curses and a bunch of stuff? Hello, a lot of us did that. So this is when I had a cussing party. It happened to be in my bathtub because that's when I channel everybody apparently. And I just saw a multitude of my ancestors and I literally started cussing them all out, Angela. I was overwhelmed with emotion. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what they wanted from me. I wanted to know all my contracts. I wanted to say, forget it, whatever I came here to do, never mind. Because I knew at that time that we can do that we can just say, never mind. I don't want to carry any of this crap. I want you guys to take it away. So after having a very heavy conversation, I felt them lift off of me. I felt like 1,000 pounds came off of me where I didn't have the responsibility that I had at one point. Now, visiting and going through these activations, they were trying to come in again. And one of our mentors who was helping us in the activation process said, hey, you know what? You came in with a lot of your ancestors. And I said, yeah, they kind of hang on. They kind of like to be a part of the posse. And she said, they want to talk to you. But I told them they had to shut the fuck up. And I said, what? And she said that, and I put a smile on my face. And she said, nothing that they have to say to you is going to help you where you're going. The information they're holding is irrelevant and it's of no use to you. I started crying immediately, Angela. I was just crying because I was overwhelmed. Like I thought I had already told them to knock it off. And yet they were still trying to tell me what they needed from me, right? And me, I'm just trying to be this, happy little person that comes in to help all my ancestors. And I just couldn't do it alone. I was being unrealistic. So Tuesday I woke up and I thought I was done with them. And I woke up super tired and I didn't know what was going on. And I was thinking about a lot of ancestral stuff that was going on, things that were just kind of coming in. And I thought that they were still trying to pick at me. Here I am. I already went through a death vortex. They told me, leave me alone. You can't go where we're going. Like, I'm done with you. I've annulled my contract. And I can still feel their energy attached to me. So I'm like, okay, this is ridiculous. Like, how is it that they can still try to bug me, right? With all due respect, they came and did what they had to do. Their ways worked as long as they did. Now they're sending in new things to be done so we can create something brand new because what they tried to do didn't work for all of humanity. So now we're, again, upgrade, here we go. So I just felt like they were still trying to reach out to me. And sure enough, after I messaged you, that was confirmation that they were still trying to get me to do their work. And even though they may love me or whatever, they were more concerned about their traditions, their roles, and their energies. And we've been informed that a lot of that energy has already pretty much died. It's not working anymore. And maybe you can touch on that a little bit before I continue so they can have a better understanding of how us having to lay down our DNA and the things that we were born into and how that is expiring or has already expired. And then we'll touch a little more on the experience.
Yes. So part of this process is the laying down of the DNA because we do need to upgrade our own DNA each, when we shift consciousness, you need to upgrade the DNA. And the reason why we still have, even though we can, put as many records away that we need to, we can get rid of our patterns, we can get rid of our habits. The reason that they can still access us is that, 3D, third dimension has always been just sort of this playing out of a role. It's playing out of a story that's already been told. All right. And it's literally been a playing out. And so, but now we're taking the end of that consciousness, which this is not an end of the world kind of thing. It's a shifting consciousness, right? So we're taking the end of that and we're actually creating a new consciousness, a new level, a new vibration, a new frequency. Well, chances are we've already done this in the future, right? Because we know how it's going to play out, or we know that it's going to work this time. So of course it's already been played out someplace along the way. They can access us still by that frequency because they know that it's already been done. You see, and they can match the frequencies through 12th dimension, through 22nd dimension, through the 52nd dimension, any kind of a dimension, because it's already been in the future. This is a playing out of sorts, but moving into pure creation, there's no playing out of anything up there. We're not replaying a movie. We're literally creating a new conscious level for humanity, with humanity. So of course, they're trying to get to us in any way, shape, or form because they think that they have to literally die, or that third dimensional frequency will never be available again, but it will be because everything is, first dimension is still here, second dimension, third dimension, seventh dimension is here, all the dimensions are still here. It's just that role won't be available in a new frequency. Does that make sense?
I think for a lot of us, we're going to have to try to make that sense in a way that we can understand, because it is explained well, right? And it's funny, it's like you're talking, like I get pictures when Angela talks, and I think it kind of helps translate, to help me understand how you explain things to me, And I mean, in my family, there's a lot of construction workers, right? My grandfather would build houses and everything. And I remember the tools that he used to use. And now, like looking at my family now in construction, the tools that they use are very different. So if we still use the tools that my grandfather used and his father before that, it would take us forever to build something, right? Because we'd be kind of stuck in our ways. And this is a tool that we use. And my grandfather taught me, he taught his dad and all that other good stuff. So like we tend to kind of just duplicate because that's what we know. So just as you're talking about that, I say, yeah, those tools still exist, but what we're building, there's new machinery, there are new tools, there's more advances in technology that we're going to be able to use to help create our own realities, right? And so whatever we've used up until now, they've worked, but we've gotten people from higher dimensions to say, hey guys, psst, psst, you're suffering, you're kind of doing things a long way. We found a better way. Like, hey, come here, let's show you. Mm-hmm. And so what Angela just said, that's basically it. Like, yes, the things are still going to exist. Like we're talking about like modalities that people use that are in different frequencies and different vibrations. They'll still be used in particular dimensions, but it's not going to be used in the dimensions where we're going, where we're headed. And the reason why we're headed there is because all this doesn't work anymore. And there's going to be people that are stuck in their way and they want to do things a certain way because they always have or whatever. And that's great. We don't have to interrupt them. We can love and embrace the way they do things, but I don't want to work so hard. Right? I don't want to have to take days to learn something. I don't want to have to go through a vortex for a whole month or a whole year. I want to die fast. If I have to die, let me die fast. And then let me wake up on the other side already knowing the wisdom. But it would have taken me 6 months ago. So if there's shortcuts, sign me up. Like I'm all about the shortcuts. You know that, right?
Yeah.
So I wanted to share that because in this whole ancestral stuff that was happening, I'm like, oh my gosh, like literally it's going to happen again. I thought it was done. And so I was clearing the attachments that I had from my ancestors. And I heard someone say, an ancestor, I don't know who it was, I didn't ask because I didn't want to give them the time of day. I just wanted to get it over with. But I needed to be aware of what was causing the fatigue. And it was, as you had mentioned, like a lot of ancient energy that was holding on, a lot of ancestors that still wanted access to my energy because they're lost, because they're scared, because they don't know what's happening. And they want to have it explained to them. And I have to just say, hey, you guys are going to get the lesson whenever it comes. It's going to be sent through Telegram, through a messenger, but it's not going to be me. I'm done. So in the process of clearing, I felt better. And then I heard an ancestor say, we'll leave in 6 days. And I said, oh, hell no. The hell you're staying for 6 days. You got to go now. And I commanded them to leave because by this time I'm pissed, Angela. And, I normally can walk through things and be graceful, but I was just like, you need to go now. And immediately I heard something just kind of go and my ears started heating up and my head started heating up. And I heard someone say, you're divinely protected. And that someone was me in a higher realm saying, hey, we took care of it. You're fine. So I was okay to demand those things because I'm being called to create something new. And it felt like hitchhikers, Angela. It felt like I was giving somebody a ride and I'm pedaling on a bike. And I'm like, I can't get there any faster with all this weight on. And I felt like I was picking up hitchhikers and I got to get like a freaking spacecraft and like fly. I can't bicycle anymore. Like I have things to do and places to go. And I know that I work through a lot of guilt around it because a lot of people who are going to transition have to work with the guilt around saying no more. Mm-hmm. Have to feel okay with getting in a spacecraft and not pedaling a bike anymore. You have to be okay with passing by these hitchhikers. And again, we go through this whole, we don't know. We just know that like in an airplane, right? You have to put the mask on yourself before you help everybody else out. And I think there's a huge need for people to understand that is not selfish. That's the only way you're going to help anybody else. You can't help anybody if you're passed out. It doesn't, but yeah, we keep doing it, Angela, over and over again, right? And that's kind of how I felt like I was doing all my ancestor work. And they say, okay, well, as long as I help them, they'll help me. And I'm like, no, I need to help me because I'm in a new realm and a new dimension and doing new things. And they probably all broke their heads trying to figure out how to do it and go right and go left. And they all kind of stayed the same. Not to say there wasn't any advancements, but not the way they're happening now. So we have to work through the emotions of feeling like we're done carrying the things that we came here to carry. You can null and void contracts. And hell yeah, 6 days? I don't think so. So that made me really angry.
Yeah. Well, I think that we can look at that as the matrix of oppression. And oppression is used in societies with domination, manipulation, and control, right? And we've used our ancestors as excuses to hold on to these old beliefs, to these old patterns, to these old habits. But it's been switched from, just honoring them and honoring their ways. And it's a pile of guilt. Honestly, it's just a pile of guilt. And I'm not saying that we should still honor our ancestors, because they did come before us. They made huge waves in consciousness. But that was their role. It's not my role, right? My role now is to shift consciousness. I mean, ever since I was a little girl, I've said this before, I knew I was here to shift consciousness, period. How that was going to play out, I had no idea.
There we go.
But here we are.
Here we are. Still have kind of sort of no idea, but we kind of have an idea.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's we think that a lot of us think our ancestors are better than us, or we held them in a higher esteem. And I think that culturally we were pretty much raised to believe that, right? But if their ways worked, we wouldn't have been called in to change things up. That's the way I see it now. Like, there was a comment a client had made, and I want to share this, when she had mentioned that she had triggers around her, stuff that her mom and her grandmother did, right? I mean, we all have them. And I remember a picture came in. I said, okay, let's learn to be grateful for what they did for us. Let's picture a hoarder, right? And then that this person has a whole bunch of mess, and your grandfather came and your grandmother came, and they kind of helped clean up the hoarding. And so you didn't get to see what it originally looked like. So grandma and grandpa came and did all that. Then your mom came and gave it another little, touch up here and there. And now you're coming and you're like, oh my God, it's such a mess, but you didn't see what it looked like before. So now you're going in there to do all the final touches and the interior design. Okay. It's a little different. We all had different jobs to do. We came here at a different time, and the picture we saw was very different. So I think what's happening with a lot of people, and we think that they're higher and better, and oh my gosh, we're almost treating them like gods, to say, no, they came and tried to pave a way before us. And then they actually created a path for us to walk on. But at one point they stopped, and we have to continue. So grateful for the path they already, carved out for us, but we have to grab our machetes and keep going. Like, there's more to do. So thank you so much for all the work that you did. I got it from now. From now on, like, I'll do what I have to do. And we're going to be enlightened by those people who are helping create this dimension that none of us had a chance to see just yet. But we just know it's better than where we are now.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Really interesting.
So when we're talking about dropping off our old records, like, it's multi-layered, like you can see them, right? Just through the things that we're talking about. Like, there's a lot of things to consider here. And how do we shorten up that process and not have the guilt and the domination and control factors play into us being able to literally say, this is your pattern, it's not mine. This is your belief, it's not mine. These are your records, they're not mine. And moving into the future, like, we can't take those things with us. It's just not going to work to take those things with us. So it's not the reason we're telling you about this is so that you don't have fear about it, so that you're not afraid of it, and so that there's not some sort of almost discrimination about your ancestors or about the old patterns that you're leaving behind. Like, it's like we're not trying to, I don't know what I'm trying to say here, but it's part of the process of leaving the old and creating new. It's the part of the process of destruction and creation, and you can't have it. I mean, there's no other way. This is humanity. This is the way they do it here.
And there's nothing worse than carrying things that you're not going to use. I just came back from South Dakota. I was there, and I looked at the weather, and it's like snow and this and that. Oh my God, I got jackets and scarves and boots, and I was so excited. And so normally I just have like a personal item in a little bag, and I just travel everywhere. I don't care how long I'm going to stay, and I could just wash my clothes or whatever. But I was going through some issues having to pack more. Like, oh my God, I haven't traveled with a check bag in forever. And Angela, I mean, yeah, I shared my story, but I'm like, oh my God, like now I have my little backpack, and now I have this check bag, and now it's a different airline. So the pound, whatever changed. And so I get there and I'm excited, and the weather was beautiful the whole time I was there. And everybody who lives there was like, yay, it's nice. But I was just thinking about all the drama that I went through, packing all these things. And I ended up leaving half of my stuff there because I was so bothered by it. And I started thinking, how much crap are we carrying? Beliefs from our ancestors, from whatever, that, yeah, again, at one point served them. But I was so annoyed about everything. I even had to pay like overweight fees, which is fine and dandy. But when I break it down, I'm like, this is freaking ridiculous. How many of us are carrying on these things because we're afraid to say no, thank you, or like I have to do it my way. And now we're lugging these baggages around and don't even know where to put crap, and can't even put your own things anywhere because everybody else's stuff is taking up space, right? And that's how I see it energetically. Like when I saw that bag, it represented all that, Angela. And maybe that was the whole purpose behind me having to take all this clothes that I never wore, to have to kind of go through the irritation and say, holy crap.
Well, plus there was an expectation of, oh, I'm going to South Dakota where it's cold and it's winter, middle of winter. And it's like, oh, but it's nice here. I don't need the boots because they didn't get as much snow on this side of the state, or, and which is not typical. But that, I think that's a good lesson in how we have these expectations and these visions of what it should look like, instead of actually seeing what things are real, like what's really authentic here and what's really happening here. And that's part of dropping off those records that no longer serve us. That, those patterns, those expectations, I think is one of those huge detriments to humanity that have been created over the years, that just set us up to fail, and set us up for such disappointment. So I'm happy to drop that one off. No arguments from me, because that one's terrible. I talk about the atrocities of humanity, and there's so many of them. That one's a big one.
Could be in a couple of episodes.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's fun how we can piggyback off of all of these, right? And saying, so it's easy to say, don't, drop off your beliefs, like drop off your records, but there's ways to do it, right? I've had many of conversations with my ancestors. I am so grateful to them. I am so thankful for the experiences that I didn't have to go through because they already paved that way, you guys. So there's a lot of gratitude. I have conversations with them all the time, right? Angela has created like a meditation to help you lay down your DNA. Like visualization, you guys, is so important in this process, because you allow yourself, your conscious and subconscious mind, to kind of look at things differently. And so we lay down this DNA with gratitude, and we say, hey, you know what? Here's your stuff. My bags are packed and I have no more room. These are my necessities that I need, moving forward. And I wish I could take it with me, but they're not allowing me to check any more bags. And so we could blame it on the airline or whatever portal we're jumping through or whatever. But it's simple as that.
Blame it on the death vortex. It won't let you take any of it with you.
Can't you just throw it in there? If you throw it in there, it's going to die with everything else, but it's a process. They're lightening up the load on purpose, you guys. They're allowing us to get rid of things, to recalibrate, to do what we have to do, because where we're going, we're in the process of creating, is something where, I don't know, when I think about a minimalistic lifestyle, right? The fact that I had mentioned, I keep getting rid of stuff and getting rid. Why do I keep getting rid? I don't know. I just feel lighter and lighter with more. It's kind of like being in a hot air balloon, right? Like take out all the unnecessary stuff. And the more you take that you don't need out, you actually fly higher, And I think that's kind of what I'm attaching it to, is saying, hey, this is really interesting. I'm watching my expectations, right? I don't even know if I have any. I obviously do, but I don't know exactly what they are. And I think that's kind of helping me transition a little easier, Angela, because I'm kind of doing it without throwing a fit or a tantrum. And like I mentioned before, I'm not asking 1,000 questions. I just want the information that I need for my right now moment to stay present in this transition, to be able to be the wife that I need to be for my husband, the mom that I need to be for my daughter, and those closest to me, right? And I don't want to put too much on me, because I'm still releasing a bunch of stuff, right? So I trust that the information that needs to be given to me is going to be given to me at the right time, and I'm going to know what to do with it. Because I don't want information if I don't know what the hell to do with it. That's too much work.
Yeah. So let me give you a visual about the death vortex so that you can sort of like play with it or do whatever you need. So, how I see it is it's like a big black hole, like out in the cosmic field, and science is teaching us that there's a circular thing that goes around the big black holes, like all kinds of stars, stardust, all that kind of stuff. Well, the way that I saw it, those were the patterns, the old things that we are sort of trying to leave behind, but yet they're going to get sucked down in the black hole with us, right? And then science also, quantum physics also tells us that there comes a point within the black hole where where the chaos enters, and then something happens and there's a disappearance of everything except for one singular focus. And that's literally how I kind of felt when I was doing my death vortex, was like, oh, there was a point in the activation or in the process where I felt like everything sort of disappeared, and now I could come out like squeaky clean and very focused, like very focused. And so that kind of gives you hopefully a little bit of a visual of how the whole process of that kind of works. Maybe.
And then she ends it with maybe. See, a lot of us are like, I didn't see no black hole. I'm like, this is me. Let me go through the process. That's what I did. I literally did that. I closed my eyes and I said, I knew I was before a council of sorts. I remember seeing people and I was talking to somebody and they showed me and told me stuff I don't remember. And it was kind of like, are you ready? And I was just kind of like, go. And I just jumped in and closed my eyes. And again, trusted the process. Angela's more like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Oh, look
what is that? Wait, who are those?
Yeah. And I'm just kind of like, you know what? So I love that we don't all have to go through it the same way.
No.
Some of us are a little nosier than others. I love that Angela does that though, because when I want to pick her brain and I get nosy later on, I can ask her and say, hey, so what did it look like? And I'm like, oh, cool, but she has a specific need. I had another one and it worked the same, right? So each one of you, when you decide to go through this, you can literally request how you can go through it. And they make it as quick and as painless as possible. I honestly feel that what they're looking for is our willingness to just leave things behind that are literally holding us back to jump into this new. And, we keep talking about trusting the process, trusting yourself so much to know that everything's going to get high-end, right? It is. At first, people can be a little off, right? Like I remember Angela had shared in previous episodes that she was just kind of like, what the hell happened? And I'm just kind of like, like, it's just one of those things, so it's different. I think that they had like a timeline, and what we're both noticing, Angela and I, is that timeline is kind of getting shortened. So things are being expedited a little bit faster, and it seems like the forces that want to prevent things from happening, which is too late because it already happened, they're kind of aware of what's happening right now, and they're trying to create something to sabotage, let's say. But we really can't be touched in a way where things go backwards or things aren't going to happen. It's already happening. Right. And so doesn't mean they're not going to try. And this is why self-love and self-empowerment and the things that we talk about are so crucial to building that foundation that you're going to need to keep moving forward, to make sure that everything they throw our way, whether it's, the ancestors trying to grab on or like other things they try to throw at us, that we are positioned in such a way where we understand our power, and then we get to heal that ourselves and create the things that we need to again, keep moving forward. And that's so important, you guys. So important.
Yes. Yeah. Very important. I think that we can say here that we have created Voxer support and group support, and Velia is doing one-on-ones as well. So if you're in need of support through this process, which, we've been, because it's such a brand new sort of adventure, we are, supporting each other and, kind of running things past each other and really getting clear on, why is this happening? Why is that happening? What's this? What's that? And so, we're more than happy. And I think it's part of our role in the conscious evolution is to support you. So if you're looking for that, we do have that available.
Yeah, for sure. I had shared with Angela that there was 6 clients that I activated since I came back, actually while I was over there. And when I came back and I said, okay, Velia, by you activating, that they're going to go through the symptoms and all that good stuff. I'm like, I got you. So our weekly meetings are very interesting. Oh my God, this happened and that happened. Anyway, it's really neat. So Angela talked about also having group support because we love for you guys to be with people that are also experiencing these things. Like we are very fortunate to also have a group. We're meeting tonight from different parts to just kind of, hey, how have you guys been? A little crazy, but we're going to talk about it. I went on date night with my husband yesterday and I was texting somebody in the group and we were going through some stuff. I'm casting out things, whatever. Date night. Now I got to go back into my normal life. And my husband's like, hey, so how was your day? I'm like, how much do I tell him? Right. And I love my baby. Like he does amazing in supporting me, but there's certain things that, you just can't share with people that are they're not on the same journey or they don't understand the process, even if they would want to. So group support, one-on-one, Voxer, we're offering whatever fits your lifestyle. So yes, please reach out and let us know how we can do that. We're loving these podcasts. We love to record the experiences we're having to share with you guys. We love that we get to laugh in the process.
Yes.
That's always a lot of fun.
Yes.
Keeps it interesting. It definitely keeps it interesting for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Looking forward to hearing from you guys. Leave us a comment. Send us messages. We'd love to hear from you guys. Have an amazing day, everybody. We'll talk to you soon.